Shalom. All praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakak Wadash. The double honors to the elder apostles, bishops, and the elders of GMS who rules well. Peace and salutations to the elect. My name is Aina. The title of this video is Trump running away, but Israel will draw them back. Right. And basically, Trump is pulling out of the Middle East or pulling away from Yemen, the Battle of Yemen in the Red Sea, and trying to stop them because basically they lost, right? They're losing too much equipment, right? So this guy Danny Half Hong has been talking with Professor Morandi a lot about that situation and how there's no I believe they said conventional way to fight Yemen, right? They will said they will have to resort to nuclear war, and that's pretty much what the scriptures say will happen anyway. So, it's not a surprise that he pulled out. These guys said it, and basically it happened. So anyway, Trump pulls out. So I heard this on TikTok. It says I heard two things on TikTok, and I searched Google, and I couldn't find nothing on Google. So I went to DeepSeek. It's like Chat GPT, but it's from China, whatever. Right? It doesn't matter. Chat GPT. I use that sometimes too. It says so I searched it up on DeepSeek. So two things I searched up just to show you the I guess the credibility of DeepSeek, and ChatGPT and all of them, right? It's like Google, but better. Because on here you can ask it a question and also ask it to search the web. So it does what Google does, but better. Eventually they'll come in and they'll destroy all of that though. All right, so this says I asked it Trump pulls out of Yemen, and I also asked China warns Israel because what I saw on TikTok also was that China had dropped some aid in Gaza, with a big plane or whatnot, and I wanted to see if it was true, But basically, those videos, if you happen to see that, it's not true. That was not China, and the DeepSeek here told me, nothing recent has happened with that. I was like, okay, so I seen these two things at the same time. So I said China warns Israel, then I said China delivers aid to Gaza and tells Israel not to attack, because that's what they were saying. None of that is true. But China is sending aid to Gaza. They go to Egypt, and then Egypt, sends it up to Gaza and whatnot. But anyway, then I also asked it, Trump pulls out of Yemen, right? Because I asked Google, and Google, what I was talking about. But here, DeepSeek says President Trump announced a ceasefire. Hold on one second. It says President Donald Trump announced a cessation of U.S. airstrikes against Yemen Houthi rebels on May 6, 2025, making an abrupt end to nearly a 2-month military campaign. Here are the key details, right? And this video was posted up 8 days ago. It's the 18th of May, 2025. All right, ceasefire agreement. It says Trump declared an immediate halt to bombings after Houthi leaders communicated through a mediator that they would stop targeting U.S. vessels in the Red Sea. The agreement ensured freedom of navigation for commercial shippings, but did not cover Houthi attacks on Israel. Right, and that's key because Israel, like I got in my title, will draw out America. So Trump is giving up because he lost. Right, he can't fight the Yemenis or Houthi, so he's pulling out. In point 2, it says reason for withdrawal. It says military ineffectiveness. That's what DeepSeek is saying. They're saying America is ineffective against Yemen. It says despite striking over 1,000 targets and expanding, is spending 1 billion, mutations in the first month, which is ammunition and things. It says the U.S. failed to achieve superiority, air superiority, right? So they're over there with their jets and they're getting shot down, so it's not working. It says the Houthis down 7 U.S. drones. They say they cost $30 million each, and nearly hit F-16, F-35 jets, showcasing resilience. So in the news, these jets are saying that they like fall off oceans or fall off boats into the ocean and just, I don't know, somehow stop working in midair. But people are saying that Yemen's missiles are shooting down these jets. So it's up for debate, I guess. Uh, yeah, so that's the point. And then he said, so Deep Sea got it right, but basically they're losing the war. As simple as that, and Israel's going to draw them back over there. And that's good. It's good that Trump is giving up. Because now, maybe Benjamin Netanyahu will get upset, and do something against, against the United States, as in go ahead and make the first move to cause America to jump back in. So I'm gonna play like 6 minutes of this video, and they break it down a little bit more. And I got some precepts.
Here, I'll just pull up what Donald Trump had to say about this deal with Ansar Allah, saying that there has been a capitulation by Ansar Allah itself, that they'll stop attacks on American shipping, that they're giving up.
We had some very good news last night. The Houthis have announced that they are not, or they've announced to us at least, that they don't want to fight anymore. They just don't want to fight. And we will honor that. And we will stop the bombings.
Right. And, just mind you, like I said, they're still attacking Israel, right? And Israel ships. They're just not going to attack American ships. And Trump is happy with that.
And they have capitulated, but more importantly, we will take their word. They say they will not be blowing up ships anymore.
And then, as that was happening, we had the announcement about the downing or the sinking of another fighter jet. The U.S. has lost another F-18 Super Hornet off the USS Harry Truman. It has sunk to the bottom of the Red Sea. All of this happening virtually at the same time, Professor Marandi. So what's your assessment? What is going on here? How does this fit into the larger picture that we've been covering?
I think it's pretty clear that this is a significant setback for the United States. Trump, obviously, as he always does, he makes things up. I think it's quite clear that you have a very politically aware audience, and your two other guests are. I've noticed before that they're always more precise than me, and they know much more detail about events, so they could do a better job in explaining. But it's quite clear that Ansar Allah, after the ceasefire, Netanyahu he reimposed the starvation siege, and Ansar Allah gave a warning, stating that they gave him 4 days, maybe. Now you can correct me if I'm wrong, to open up the Gaza Strip to aid. Otherwise, we're going to shut down the Red Sea again. So they even gave the Israeli regime and Netanyahu time to rethink the siege. They did not change their policy, and Ansar Allah restarted their siege on Israeli regime ports. So the siege had nothing to do with American ships. It had nothing to do with European ships. It had nothing to do with any ships that were not related to the Israeli regime. Now, the Americans, Trump, decided to teach everyone a lesson and teach Ansar Allah a lesson, and he and his Secretary of Defense made it clear that they're going to finish the job and get rid of Ansar Allah. And for the last few weeks, that's what they've been trying to do. We saw a large number of very expensive drones downed, very important drones. Those are the drones that are used to find and immediately target commanders, sensitive equipment. They, in my opinion, they're even more important than the F-18s, because the F-18s have to take off, go to Yemen, bomb a particular site. These drones, which are almost as expensive when they're fully armed as an F-18, they are constantly monitoring and seeking targets so that they can immediately strike them. So Ansar Allah has been downing these drones. They've been downing these jets. They've been harassing ships during this period of time. The Americans have been constantly bombing. We saw from, I think, the Wall Street Journal article that their heavy bombings with B-2 and B-52 bombers coming all the way from Diego Garcia, which is very expensive, by the way, to carry out these bombing strikes. And since out of fear, the aircraft carriers in the Red Sea are also very far away from Yemen, the airstrikes from there are also expensive. So the Americans used those heavy bombers, the B-52s and B-2s, to bomb Yemeni military sites. The Wall Street Journal effectively admits that it was not successful. And the Americans, of course, and now the Israelis too, they basically bombed civilian targets and slaughtered ordinary people. They bombed factories, they bombed apartment blocks, but they had no success. And they could not stop the missiles, they could not stop the drones, and they obviously couldn't stop the missile that struck the Ben Gurion International Airport. So when Trump says Ansar Allah, or what they call the Houthis, when he says that Ansar Allah has capitulated, in fact, he's capitulated. And Ansar Allah, we've gone back to where we were before Trump decided to attack Yemen. In other words, ships, as we speak, in accordance as before, Israeli ships are blocked from going to or leaving Israeli ports, and other shipping that is not related to the Israeli regime can go through the Red Sea as normal. So basically, Ansarullah has scored a major victory. The United States has been humiliated. Trump has been humiliated, and I think it also has broader significance, because that means it shows that there are times when the interest of the United States is not precisely the same as that of the Israeli regime when things get tough. The second is that Ansarullah will be able to continue punishing the Israeli regime more easily, and also I think it teaches the United States a lesson. It may be a lesson that they don't take into consideration the way they should, but it teaches them a lesson that if they cannot defeat Ansarullah, then they should not even think about attacking him.
Well, I agree with all of that. What I want to add is,
All right, so about 6 minutes, 7 minutes. So there you have it. Trump, basically has capitulated and losing over there, right? But Israel will draw them back. This is Isaiah 14:5. It says, "The Lord Yahweh hath broken the staff of the wicked and the scepter of the rulers. He who smote the people in wrath with a continuous stroke, he that ruled the nations in anger, is persecuted and none hindereth. It says, the whole earth is at rest and is quiet. They break forth into singing. Yet the fir trees rejoice at thee, and the cedars of Lebanon saying, since thou art laid down, no feller is come up against us. Hell from beneath is moved for thee to meet thee at thy coming. It stirred up the dead for thee, even the chief ones of the earth. It hath raised up from their thrones all the kings of the nations. All they shall speak and say unto thee, art thou also become weak as we? Art thou become like unto us? It says that thy pomp is brought down to the grave, and the noise of thy bowels, the worm is spread under thee, and the worms cover thee. It says, how art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nations? It says, for thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven, I will exalt my throne above the stars of Yahweh. I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High. It says, yet thou shalt be brought down to hell, to the sides of the pit. So that's pretty much the point. This is going to the fact that the nations, are saying that Babylon the Great has become weak like them, right? No longer a powerhouse, in the world where they can't be touched, basically. Right, it even goes into the trees, are happy, once Babylon the Great is brought down, because it's prophesied that it will be brought down. And it goes into how art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning, right? And this just goes into the light bearers, right? Esau, Edom, going to Illuminati and things like that. The secret societies of the world, they're brought down, right? Because their hub is America, right? That they operate out of. This Joel 3:9, it says, proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, prepare war, wake up the mighty men, let all the men of the war draw near, let them come up. It says, beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears, let the weak say, I am strong. So that's exactly what's happening, right? Trump is leaving the battle against Yemen, right? Because limitations with, attacking them in his military. Jeremiah 50 and 22. It says, a sound of battle is in the land and of great destruction. How is the hammer of the whole earth cut asunder and broken? How is Babylon become a desolation among the nations? It says, I have laid a snare for thee, and thou art also taken, O Babylon, and thou wast not aware. Thou art found and also caught, because thou hast striven against the Lord Yahweh. The Lord Yahweh hath opened his armory, and have brought forth the weapons of his indignation. For this is the work of the Lord Yahweh, Yahweh of hosts, in the land of the Chaldeans. Right, and basically, these nations are going to come against Babylon the Great, and attack them, just like I got Joel 3, the weak proclaiming, that they're strong. And obviously they're doing just that by, fending off America, and cause them to leave the area. So this is Jeremiah 15:45. It says, therefore, hear ye the counsel of the Lord Yahweh that he have taken against Babylon, and his purposes that he hath proposed against the land of the Chaldeans. It says, surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he shall make their habitation desolate with them. So the least of the flock is going into the 1948ers, the JOO, the small hats, the Israelis over there in the land of Jerusalem, Israel. And they're going to draw out Babylon the Great to war. So this is prophesied. And, so we'll see what happens, because Trump now is basically leaving a battle where Israel is getting attacked, right? Yemen is attacking Israeli homeland, like airports and things like that on the actual ground with missiles. And they're also attacking their ships coming in, trying to give them, more supplies and things like that. And Donald Trump has pulled back. So Benjamin Netanyahu, a Jew, might be in a desperate place to strike and move, but, we'll see, because we also are waiting on this MOTB. So this could give the banking elites room to come down and move, because they see that but a short time. This Revelation 12:12, it says, therefore rejoice ye heavens, ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, the devil is come down unto you having great wrath, because he know that he have but a short time. Right. So, they could start moving, issuing out their plans, for the New World Order, bringing the chaos. We past videos where we have famines approaching, blackout shortages, everything is lining up, we see. Is Matthew 24:3, and it says, and as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, and the disciples came unto him privately, saying, tell us, when shall these things be, and what shall be the sign of thy coming, and of the end of the world? And Yahweh answered and said unto them, take heed that no man deceive you, for many shall come in my name, saying, I am anointed, and shall deceive many. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. We know that the issuing forth of the MOTB will pretty much be the end, and then, following after that, it'll be World War III, right? And it will get nuclear. So verse 6 again, it says, and ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. For a nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. There shall be famines and pestilence and earthquakes in diverse places, right? So these famines and pestilence and things are going to come, we still have the guy, Bill Gates, wiggling around, talking about the next big one, regarding the 2019 event, 2021 or whatnot. And then also, there's a shortage of ships coming in, providing, storage, packaging for foods, some also foods, and things like that. It says all these are the beginning of sorrows, right? So, we're here in the beginning of sorrows, that we still have a few things that happen that needs to be escalated, like Jacob's trouble, or at a time like never before seen. The MOTB, and finally World War III. But guess what? All of those things I just mentioned are here, right? They're just not at their full potential, right? So we're at any moment, Esau can go ahead and issue forth their plan, right? Maybe another Black Swan event or something like that. We'll have to see. But the prophecies are going out, the warnings are going out, for you to prepare your mind. The scriptures say, wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times, right? And that's the whole point. You need to know exactly what's going on. This is Isaiah 33:6. It says, and wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times, and the strength of salvation, the fear of the Lord Yahweh Bashim Yahweh is his treasure. Right. So we fear the Lord, therefore what? We turn back to him, repent, we rehearse the righteous acts, right? And we warn the sheep. So anyway, Lord willing, you edify from the lesson. I'll say shalom to the elect, which consists of men, women, and children. Shalom.